Have you ever been told not to stand in front of a microwave because of all the radiation it gives off? Well, holding a cell phone near your head might have the same effect. Experts believe that there are possible negative effects on holding cell phones near your head because of the cancerous possibilities. As a college student, I know how difficult it is to not use your cell phones often because you're either texting, you're calling at school offices, your friends. But we have to know that there could be negative implications to this device. So, prolonged exposure to cell phone radiation could be a cause for concern when it comes to our health. Today I would like to talk about what cell phone radiation is, what scientists are doing experiment-wise to see what the effects are on our health, and the possible implications. First, what is cell phone radiation? There are two types of radiation, ionizing and non-ionizing. Cell phones fall into the category of non-ionizing because the radio frequency they release is a lot less than ionizing, like X-rays and gamma rays. Cell phones release electromagnetic electromagnetic waves, and they use radio frequency waves to receive and make calls. In an article published Scientific American in August 2011, Arthur Mark Fischetti argued that we shouldn't be worried so much about non-ionizing radiation like cell phones, because the ionizing radiation like X-rays that we could be exposed to is a lot more dangerous. Angela Happett, writing in October 21st, 2011 edition of US News Digital Weekly, referred to research done by Danish researchers who over the course of 18 years looked about over 350,000 people, and they tracked people who used cell phones and people who didn't use cell phones, and they saw that there was no difference between people who were longtime cell phone subscribers and people who didn't use cell phones at all. They did, however, mention that one research is not enough to completely disprove the notion that cell phone radiation isn't harmful to humans. Now that I've talked about what cell phone radiation is, I would like to discuss what experiment scientists are doing to see what effects it has on our health. The question is, how dangerous is cell phone radiation to our health? And researchers at the National Institute of Health Sciences, Environmental Health Sciences, is working with the National Toxicology Program to see whether or not that the radiation is cancerous to us, and they use lab rats for this. They use them as monkeys, pretty much, to mimic the radiation that would be affected on humans and on the rats. In another study published on website Science Daily on December 5, 2008, researchers from Lund University of Sweden discussed that the cell phone radiation was having a memory effect on their lab rats. These rats were forgetting certain things when they were placed into scenarios. One experiment they conducted was they put rats into a box with 4 different objects on 2 different occasions, and they put them in once and let the rats just look around and see the objects, and then they took them back out, switched the objects around, and put them back in. The second time around, the rats that were affected by the radiation didn't really know where the objects were, while the rats that were not affected by the radiation realized immediately that the objects were switched, and they went to the correct objects on the 4 corners of the box. So I discussed a little bit about what scientists think of the effects of cell phone radiation on on humans by experiments. Now I want to discuss the possible implications of cell phone radiation. Studies show that there's 3 things that could occur if you're on the cell phone for too long. Slightly raised blood pressure at the time of use, but your blood pressure returns to normal after you're done using it. Like when your blood pressure could rise when you're doing anything. Like when I'm talking right now, mine's probably really high because I'm really nervous. Brain warming after prolonged use, which goes away as soon as you stop using your phone. and causes no harm. And then slight fatigue after prolonged use. That's basically it for the possible implications aside from cancer as well, but that's not really proven yet. So now that I've discussed the implications, I would like to close the speech. While there has been many research done on the possible negative effects it can have on our health, we don't know for sure yet because the tests are still inconclusive. Today we talked about what cell phone radiation is, what scientists are doing experiment-wise to see how it affects our health, and the implications. If you're worried, you probably shouldn't be because again, the tests are inconclusive. However, the possibility of getting cancer from cell phones is still there because any form of radiation is still radiation. Science do not, as of now, have any hard evidence that RF waves can cause brain cancer. So you probably shouldn't be too worried. Just it's good to be aware of the existence of cell phone radiation.